So your link like that got doctor give you MC.
Yeah, 3 days, but I haven't taken it. Okay, which one is it?
5G or the 5G will be faster.
Which can't see.
FTS.
This one? 5G.
Yeah.
Password?
Is that? So your mic and speaker will be turned off. Then yeah, yes. When you present, just use this laptop. Also, be a lot feedback.
Is that using that laptop?
I mean, you talk at time just this Jabra, it will be the speaker and the mic. You can talk through here, but you present using that. Yeah, your mic and speaker turn off here, but then when you talk to this Jabra.
So you use this laptop
to present.
But I turn off the
mic and the speaker. Yeah.
We use this.
So is it gonna work with this?
Yeah. No, but because basically you're speaking, you're captured into
okay.
Yes, this one can capture more better sound.
Okay.
You can sit.
Yeah, sit there.
Darrel, later you can move to here, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can see here also. Same.
Yeah.
You want wine or what you have?
You want after?
Maybe after.
Okay.
So I have to feel. Cannot drink too much. Later cannot talk. But 7:30 we have someone else. So I mean 8 o'clock we have someone else. So you are 8:30.
Oh, got people watching it. I'm monitoring the YouTube.
Hello. Who's that? Kang. Cannot see you there.
Camera blocked as usual. Sorry. Hello.
Actually, it doesn't switch to the
Active speaker.
yeah. I have to manually switch.
So that one later will show. Down here you control the stream over there.
No, no.
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 Yeah. Doesn't.
But it should.
Maybe you move. Yeah, later it go there.
But how to? It actually update something.
Kang is one of our other organizers. So that's Kang, Max, Darrel, and myself, 4 of us.
Okay, cool.
This is our speaker.
Yeah, the speaker is in the studio.
Right.
Oh, you set the setting already.
No, it's default. So it will switch. Then default.
But you have to never switch it.
Because I actually force it.
Oh, okay.
So normally you will. I can't go back. Mario. Oh, Mario is but he's on mute.
So
Wow. Hear you very loud. Small meet. So they have a
what is it called?
Jabra, yeah.
That's the model.
Good morning. Is that what time is it in Berlin? Afternoon?
No, it's afternoon, early afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe next round you can talk, huh? You can share with us. See?
Okay, cool. Yeah, sure.
You can see Zach is beside me and Hadi from Puppet.
Hi.
Mario is in Berlin now.
Oh,
He's the Force Asia organizer.
Oh, okay. So,
do you participate? Have you?
No.
Have you been to? Oh no. Okay, that's why you need to come
okay.
and meet. Force Asia will be March, is it? So
Yeah, that's correct. So
I think because it's quite tough to do everything online, like people also not used to, like, it's like staying so much in front of the screen. So we will spread it out over an entire week.
So same thing here. We are doing a kind of hybrid model. We have our in-house. We heard maybe December, end of the year, they can relax slightly to 8 people. Not a lot.
Okay.
8 person.
Yeah, but like LLI allows up to 50.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you can make a special application for like a conference or I think that's what they say. Religious gathering, you can apply to have a bigger group, but then they want to see that you have in place measures. So probably everyone has to take temperature and all that.
Yeah. Well, they do that probably all the time anyway. So
yeah. But how is it in Germany? Because I think Germany today is a lockdown.
But like it's not as strict, right? I mean, people
Yeah,
can go.
I thought it's not strict at all.
Yeah.
So it still depends on the personal discipline.
Yeah. So it's a big country. So but, what can we do? So I was also sick. Yeah.
But you're not COVID, right?
No, it like right same symptoms, but it was just a cold. So I went for a test, but it wasn't the virus. Anyway, I'm not meeting anyone, so right. I think I won't get it.
So there was this case. So Korea, they are doing a flu vaccination.
Yeah.
I think 49 people died. There was death. About 49 people.
Really?
49 death. So they have to stop. And I heard Singapore also stopped.
Really?
Yeah. Too many pandemic around.
Yeah, but Korea say that it's not due to the flu. They say trust the government, just continue your flu shots. But
really, I thought they stopped it. Yeah. Now they say start again.
59 people died already.
Yeah. Oh, 59. Yeah. The last time I saw was
48.
Yeah. So Hong Fok is with you in Berlin.
Yeah. She's working on something here. Yeah.
Okay. There's some SG. Who is that?
Don't know.
In and out.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. I'm an
SG.
old friend of Stephan's.
Sanjeev.
I'm going to talk about Emacs.
Sanjeev.
Yes.
I know you, of course. Max is at home. I thought
we meet again.
Yes. Actually, I wanted to suggest that maybe you all should consider a reunion, as a president. When it's safe, of course.
Reunion in the time of COVID.
Yeah, I don't know how many years it was, the first Lux until now.
Oh, Lux was already alive when I first joined, and it's been some.
I don't know who did the first Lux, man. A lot of younger people, they don't know why it's Lux.
No, but that is good.
That's good.
No, I will tell you, when you are a small minority, you form a kongsi, right? You form a clan. You're fighting in something. When you have won, there's no need for Linux user group. We won the war.
Yeah. So, okay, for those online, Sanjeev is, I think when I met you, you were the treasurer of Lux user group.
Yes, sir.
Was Stephan the president or?
Stephan and I used to alternate as treasurers. Maybe he was president as well 1 year.
I can't remember also, yeah. And then there was Michael Clark. I don't know if maybe Mario remember all these names. Have you met?
He was working at assisting overseas family school.
Yeah, that was the last thing I remember. Yeah. And I don't know, he was building the LMS, open source learning system, right? School management system. And then I never seen him.
At that time, he had built a very, very cool thing which very impressed me. The automatic boot and PXE boot. 50 MacBooks would go on and will download a secure verified boot, and So that every time a student took a laptop and plugged it in and turned it on, he would get a clean environment.
I see.
This was in 2001, 2002.
Yeah. I wonder where he is now, you know. Maybe I try to dig a bit.
The only other person I'm in contact with is Sweetheart, Lim Sweetheart.
Ah, Sweetheart, yes. I think he's on my Facebook group as well, Sweetheart. Yeah. So what are you doing now, Sanjeev?
Very little. I do auditing for I do auditing. So I'm the guy who comes and says, you didn't do things well. I find fault with you. If you're nice to me, I will give you a certificate saying, okay, problem happened, is still okay. 27001, cloud security is okay, mistakes happen. Can still allow. Don't do again, huh? Don't do again.
But is this your company?
Not really. I'm running the Singapore operations of it, but
I see. Well done. Okay. Well, we welcome people to come and share and speak, yeah. But I better give Stephan a tinkle if you're someone's online. I did remind him this morning that okay, Stephan, you're supposed to come online. Let me see who else is around. Zach, Sanjeev, Kang is there.
Max managed to make it.
No, he's at
Yes,
home.
I'm here.
But you're home.
I've joined virtually, yes. Otherwise, I need to wait another 10 minutes. Two grabs in a row
Really?
didn't show up. Yeah.
And then you went
did.
home?
Well, like, at least I can join from here. Yeah.
You can join on your mobile and then...
Oh, that is true. That I can do, yeah.
Come on, we're waiting for you to drink.
Okay, then it's going to take me another, like, what, 25, 30 minutes?
Yeah. You can on mobile because anyway, now it's still Chit Chat a bit, you know.
All right. I'm gonna try again. See you in a bit.
So Mario, what are you working on currently?
Okay, so I'm working on like some stuff here with the Open Source Association, and we also do a project here on EU to make like hardware, you know. So it's like this scientific hardware that we're working on, the Pocket Science Lab, and let's see how far we can get it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the idea would be that we make it like easier for consumers to use, not just for techies. And I find it very interesting. Raspberry Pi, like how they are targeting more and more industry. So that's also a path for us, of course.
Yes, like I saw you can use it like there's an oscilloscope. What else is there? What other functionalities do they have?
Well, a multimeter power source, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Power
you can put in any kind of I squared C sensor.
Okay.
Yeah. Very nice. So you guys are working in the office nowadays together there, or how? How are you?
No. Yeah, just here for this this meetup. So Zach and
so doing all the operation side to make sure everything is working.
It's checking on because we are also streaming live. So we are using Jitsi, but then we use another terminal to stream using OBS to YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So basically, we capture the recording on YouTube. So that's how we keep a record. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Did you try this feature in Jitsi, like share, like start live stream directly from Jitsi?
I didn't because basically I had to set up another another server basically. Basically, I look at it. It was just setting up another server and then installing Chrome.
No, but like you have it here in this meeting. If you click on the bottom right, more actions. And you see,
I know. Basically, it calls the server. So basically, that server is running Chrome and using FFmpeg to encode and then upload to YouTube.
Yeah.
So that was that basically is what the built-in method within Jitsi. But anyway, I thought OBS gives you a lot more flexibility and functionality. So you could basically, more or less, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So I didn't go all the way to install that server. I thought, well, I might as well use another PC to run OBS.
Yeah. Sure. If you have the bandwidth.
Yeah, that gives you more flexibility if you want to do some creative layout or composition. You know, you can put your logos and overlays and all that kind of stuff over your YouTube streams, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are doing that, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm also setting up a flight simulator in my office.
Nice. Like a real one that moves you around?
It doesn't move, but I do have a flight yoke. But that is not open source, so that's like, you know, more my aerospace, my aerospace things. Yeah, so that's taking up some time as well. Who's Ong?
Yeah, you just joined on CY.
Who is Ong? Oh, Chi. Hello, Chi. Well, I hope Stephan comes online, man.
Chi,
Somewhere.
yeah. Good.
Now we have Chi online.
Is Chi still in security?
Chi, I don't know.
It's my old friend now.
Then you
work together at SMU also.
Then you ask him to show himself.
People shy cannot, man.
Can. I also shy.
Since when you are shy?
I'm also
That day, if you ever really become shy, must really stop and buy Toto.
I see that.
Hello, Stephan.
Hey there, how are you guys doing?
Hey.
Yeah, we are.
You are?
We are eagerly awaiting your appearance. You know, special guest. So I think you got another of your old friend around, Sanjeev. He's already online. SG. It looks like
Sanjeev turned up. Yeah. Hey Sanjeev. Where is he?
I am here to heckle whenever somebody says Emacs. I'm here to heckle.
Oh dear Lord.
I only got 12 GB of RAM on my laptop. I don't think I can follow the Emacs tutorial.
It's gonna be interactive, Sanjeev. Did you install Emacs?
Oh, okay. Let me just fire up a high-performance computer.
So I was suggesting to Sanjeev, maybe you guys from Linux user group to do a reunion sometimes.
We have small reunions all the time. It's just not a Linux user group reunion.
Or you'd have to invite us.
Oh, you want to come too?
Of course. Well, as long as we are within the legal limits, not for drinking, but someone is giving music.
Well, yeah, we're opening up a little bit more now, right? So maybe we can.
Yeah.
What's the limit now? It's gone from 5 to 8 people.
Someone's music is actually streaming. Where's the music coming from?
If somebody's streaming.
Now it's okay. So, but right now it's just chit chat, right? So we're supposed to start 8.
Yeah.
I got so Zach beside me, and Hardy is from Puppet, so he will speak after you.
Okay, great. So I'm going to quickly give my talk, and then I'm going to run away for 5 minutes while I put the kids to bed, and then I'll be back on again.
Okay, no problem.
So, all right.
Great. Sanjeev, show the face. You know, mine is not showing it. Oh, that was
a picture only.
a picture only.
I can see you. I don't know.
I don't see the.
Don't know. Kind of weird.
Maybe there's a GC bug.
It says connection poor for me. 140 kbps upstream, 628 downstream. Seems to be quite good.
Oh, Max, the Grab radio.
What?
The radio music come from the Grab radio.
Oh, that was Max. Okay, sorry. The music just now was from Max in a Grab.
It's my call quality. My call quality says high def, so that should be fine. I'm not going to talk about the computer that I'm working with at the moment. I'm not going to mention its open source status or lack thereof. We'll focus on Emacs. So how many folks are actually using Emacs?
In the past, but not
At some point in time, not God level like you.
Okay, so yeah, I'm not God level at all. It's good that you actually say that you think I am, because then I can quickly dissuade you from that notion. But no. I've basically been using Emacs for a very short while, maybe only like 4 or 5 months in anger now, and actually maybe even shorter than that. So no. And that's kind of the point of why I'm doing the presentation as well, right? I mean, I've been able to do some massively useful things with it, with very limited amount of knowledge. So yeah, but I don't want to. Hey, I'm already starting my presentation. Let me wait another 8 minutes.
Yeah. So this is the chit chat part. Maybe you wanna, because when I met you, we don't really know your background. How did you come to Singapore, or how did you get started with open source? Maybe you can share a little bit about your past.
Oh man, how did I get started with open source? That's going way back to the 90s. My first introduction to open source was kind of in the physics department of my university, where one of my profs basically introduced me to this Linux distribution called Yggdrasil Linux.
I don't
know if anybody can remember Yggdrasil, but this was in the really early days. So the only distros around then were basically things like Slackware, Yggdrasil.
Sorry, I have to mute.
Are they allowed to do like
Holy shit! That just came from nowhere.
Yeah, so that was kind of in the mid 90s, and I guess that when things really started off for me was when my girlfriend at the time bought for my birthday. She ordered from this place in the US called, man, I forget, something Creek software.
Walnut Creek.
They used to so before we all had high bandwidth internet connections, right? The only way to get large software shipped around the world was basically get somebody. People make money burning software onto CDs and then shipping it around the world, right? That was sort of the model back then. Latency sucked, but throughput was pretty good. So she bought me a set of Slackware, basically the full Slackware distro with a bunch of open source apps on there, which is, well, she should have known better, right? You don't buy a geek a toy like that and then still expect to have a boyfriend afterwards. So yeah, that's how I got started. I got introduced with Yggdrasil, and then I basically somebody for my birthday bought me Slackware, and then a few years later, when I wanted to sell my shareware program online. I thought, okay, I'm going to build an e-commerce website. I don't even believe they were called e-commerce websites back then. They were just, I'm going to build a website to sell my stuff. And I did it in CGI Perl. And I don't know how many of you guys know a guy called Eric Tachibana. I don't know how many of you guys remember that there was a guy in the local community. He's now at AWS. So
people may know him by his nicknames.
Selena Sol. Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah, that was his name on the internet.
Yeah. So Selena Sol wrote this this series of CGI Perl books and books on how to basically do web development with Perl. And I got hold of one of them and figured out how to build a Perl website. Paid a hosting service provider in South Africa a huge amount of money to put a small computer in a rack with them, and that's how I got started. Because once you have a server in a rack with a service provider with a dial-up connection at home and Linux running on it, then you want to start doing everything, right? So then the world opens up to you. So yeah, that was sort of the start of it for me. Then I started trying to figure out how do you build a mail server. Okay, now I need to learn about SMTP, need to learn about mail user agents, mail transfer agents, mail delivery agents, and stuff like that. Once I figured out to build my own mail server, I would get my own domain set up. Okay, now I need to learn about DNS. And then it kind of snowballs, right? By the end of it, you end up being a Linux systems administrator without basically having, and that was just sort of through playing and snowballing your knowledge. So by the time that I ended up in Singapore, I had sort of been tinkering with Linux quite a bit already. And of course, the first time that I came to Singapore, can I mute this person? OC, can you mute please? OC?
He probably has no control.
Can the admin mute OC?
You can click on OC and turn his volume down.
It's not working for me. Oh, I can. Oh, I can. Oh, I just did it. Yeah, I just did it. Yeah, thanks. Where was I? Yeah, so by the time that I came to Singapore, of course, the first thing I did was to look for the Linux losers, and that's where I met Sanjeev. Yeah, so I joined Linux user group sort of around 2001 by the time that I first came here. And the rest kind of is history, right? Then it was Linux user group meetings, and we pushed the Linux or the open source mantra, and something, get a job, and here I am, 20 years later. But the interesting thing, right, is that I actually, if I recall correctly, back in the 90s when I built that Perl website, I actually used Emacs as my IDE to actually do that. The thing is that I didn't really understand Emacs. I kind of used Emacs as an IDE, and it kind of worked. But what I know now basically makes me know just how little I knew about Emacs, and I don't know that much about Emacs now yet either. But I must say that I've discovered this amazing feature in Emacs, or this amazing extension in Emacs called org mode. And org mode has been amazing enough for me that I have essentially adopted Emacs. So I don't consider myself an Emacs user so much as an org mode user. That's how amazing this thing is. It's 8 o'clock. maybe we can get started. Shall we get started? Let me see. Okay.
I'm okay, but I cannot hear Darrel.
Yeah. Okay. So we shifted Hardy from Puppet to downstairs because down here we are having a lot of drilling next door and we cannot stop them. So Darrel and Hardy went downstairs to prepare. So I think you can start in the next start when you are free.
Okay. It looks like I'm trying to share my screen, but it looks like I need to quit first before this application will allow me to. Let me see quickly if I can share just this presentation window.
Yes, we can see it.
You can see that. Okay, so I've got a large monitor. I'm not going to put the presentation into presentation mode, otherwise it will take over my whole screen. And I need to be able to see my notes on the one side over here, so that I don't lose track of my talking points. You will also get to see my talking points in a minute, because my talking points was of course compiled using org mode. So you'll get to see sort of get to a view into my brain. Okay, so Superpower Emacs org mode. Now that's kind of a lofty assertion, right? To claim that something could be so amazing that essentially almost 30 years, or Jesus, longer, maybe 40 years after its 30 some odd years, I'm going to say, after its inception, people are still using it, and all of a sudden, Stephan discovers it and says, "Wow, this application that does nothing but allow you to edit text, essentially, is amazing." So that should maybe be the first hint here, right? Which is that Emacs generally, Emacs, not org mode, but Emacs generally is a text-based environment. A programmable text UI is really the way to think about it, right? Emacs is a programmable text UI, and people have basically written a bunch of extensions for Emacs that allows it to do all sorts of things, which is why people refer to Emacs as an operating system. It is really Emacs itself is a very simple, very small, very tiny application, but folks have written so many extensions for it that just by layering plugins or these modes, as they're called, you're able to compile essentially or customize a environment that is either a Swiss Army knife or it's a targeted, it's sort of a scalpel. It does one thing really well in line with what you actually want it to do. The general current domain where I got really interested in trying to optimize my life around centers around personal knowledge management, that's how it started. It started with this idea, okay, personal knowledge management. What am I going to do about this? Okay, so I discovered there are a bunch of different ideologies or methods of ways of doing things. There is the Zettelkasten method. Zettelkasten, I believe, is German for a case with cards, like a card drawer, like what the old library, right? The old library systems, you'd have a drawer with little cards in it, where the librarian would pick out the card for the book, and then essentially, that they match the book's card with yours, and then it goes in the drawer. The Zettelkasten method is a specific way of doing personal knowledge management. You spell it Zettelkastn. Then there are things like the new build a second brain movement is another one. Then there is, you guys might know of a tool called Rome Research. And of course, the one that I've been using for almost 6-7 years now, quite effectively, is GTD, getting things done. So if you just think about GTD, or getting things done, right, a very simple methodology for organizing a personal life with a bunch of tooling around it, and you can quite effectively implement that inside a tool like Evernote or OneNote or Keep, like what you see on the screen now.
Okay, can't see me at all.
Hello. Welcome. All right, so I have a few bones to pick with the tools that you see on the screen at the moment, right? And the shortcomings of these commercial offerings after years of using Evernote, and I still use Evernote. The shortcomings of these tools basically are things that always bothered me. You don't have Markdown support. I don't have Vim key bindings because I must have Vim key bindings. My muscle memory is tied to Vim. But the general problem that all of these commercial solutions have is that they're simply not keyboard centric, because at some point in the past, somebody has decided that we must all be mouse lovers. Now everything is based around the mouse, right? All interactions must have a mouse. Very few applications, if they're not meant for programmers, focus on key bindings and making it obvious how to actually have a really nice, fast workflow where you just have a keyboard. This keyboard of mine, the Happy Hacking keyboard, which I'm hoping you guys can see there, it is, I bought this keyboard in 2002, and I'm still using it. It's a great keyboard, and I bought it for a specific reason. Keyboard-focused workflows are awesome. They're very fast, and once you learn how to touch type, which we all did basically when we first started on this, working with computers, you quickly realize that doing things with the keyboard is fast. So in the absence of having lightweight formatting with Markdown in any of these tools, in the absence of having Vim key bindings, the fact that these things are in the cloud means that the versioning is dependent on whatever versioning these people would allow you to have. Can you guys still see my screen? I just noticed my camera is off.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, all right. So then you didn't see my keyboard. That's fine. Anyway, it's an old keyboard. The point is versioning sucks. You don't have the reason why we all love Git and why Git is awesome is because Git basically allows you to take a text diff of your text-oriented programming language and all the other goodness that comes with it, right? It's also the reason why we kind of also prefer open document formats, and there really is no better open document format than plain text. The fact that none of these tools allow for third-party extensions because they all want to build a walled garden, right? They want to accrue a network effect into their walled garden, which means that me as a consumer have really limited choice in my ability to do stuff with these platforms, right? So Evernote, OneNote, Keep, there are a bunch of them. They don't allow extensions, so even people who if somebody wanted to do a Markdown plugin, they couldn't, right? Because they wouldn't be allowed to, for example. The fact that they're cloud-based kind of means that, yeah, it's my data. There are some laws that says it's my data, but yeah, not really, right? It's not, when your data is in the cloud, it's kind of yours, but also kind of not. So having local access to data is kind of great. Now, it should also be noted that each of the items that I mentioned on the screen there is, these are all problems that Emac solves, right? So I essentially went from being interested in Emacs for personal knowledge management, or how to basically move towards how to move my Evernote-centric, getting things done based knowledge management solution or personal productivity management solution into a text-based workflow and And I thought initially Markdown would be the thing to do until I found Emacs. And I specifically had a use case wherein I was working with Vim and Hugo to basically build a static website for myself. And Hugo is awesome. Markdown is okay. There is no tooling though that the problem that I have with editing any static site generator's content is the navigation around the text for the various parts of the article. I'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute, which is the idea of outlining. I'll explain outlining in a second, right? So Hugo is awesome, Vim is awesome. I still use Vim. If you want to make a static site, you end up with a nice clean separation between your content and your style. You can focus on writing plain text in Markdown, which is then of course parsed and generates HTML, which is basically the static site, and basically that gets displayed wherever you want to get it done, right? And Hugo, of course, is a large third-party collection of themes. And I wanted to put this workflow on steroids, which is where Emacs org mode entered the game. By combining Emacs and org mode, I was able to very efficiently write a really complex, very large, about 170 pages, if it's a printed PDF at this point, online book, which I basically push the site to Git, and then I have the Netlify account. Netlify is a commercial static site hosting provider. Netlify will take care of the building and publishing of my static site, basically off of a GitHub webhook. So the moment that my source code goes to GitHub, Netlify will build it and it will deploy my Hugo website for me, right? I'm not displaying any of that stuff on screen now because it really is, that's more on the publishing side of it. But the moment that you have a Hugo website or the ability to go to a Hugo or a static website, it could be any one of the other static engines as well, like Jekyll or anything like that, doesn't really matter. The point here is a really effective or efficient way of managing the text-based content that in a way that Vim couldn't do, which might sound weird until I show you org mode. Okay, so let me quickly share with you the website that I built, which is basically a technical documentation site. Can you guys still see my screen up right now? You see this, yes. The two-stack website, yes?
Yeah, correct. We saw it.
Okay, so this is never mind. I'm not trying to sell you Bitcoin or anything. It's more about the fact that this is a technical documentation site that has lots of formatting in it, has embedded imaging in it. It has things like I can reference this figure here, and the image has basically a auto-generated both an index for the picture, the figure, along with the title. It's beautifully formatted in the sense that it feels like authoring a real book in that sense. Rather, the result of what you generate ends up being that, right? At some point, you can embed things that look like it's formatted essentially with code blocks. If I go down to where we actually start seeing bits of code, so this is standard. This is a standard thing that you end up with Markdown, right? Once you generate Markdown, the Markdown basically ends up formatting. But the important thing to note here is that this is actually a Hugo website. It's a Hugo static website using a template that was created by a bunch of guys inside Google called the template, or the theme is called Docsy, D-O-C-S-Y, Docsy, if you want to look it up. It's a great template for basically building technical documentation for your project, right? So I have got this project. I wanted to build extensive technical documentation for it, and I needed a way to write a really large amount of of content over a large period of time, and to still maintain the state of this thing that I was doing in my head. I'm going to change the screen sharing to a different screen now. Let me see. I want to share this application window. Okay, so let's hope the demo gods are with us, because now we're entering live demo mode. Okay, so can you guys all see my Emacs window?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool. So this is a very specific, so in the same way that Linux has a lot of different distros, right? You have Debian, you have Ubuntu, you have Red Hat. Emacs has distros as well. People essentially take that little kernel, which is just sort of the text-based programmable.
Little? Did somebody say little?
The heckling is starting already. Oh dear Lord. I can't even remember what I was calling little. So yes, in the same way that that you have distros which basically assemble the GNU kernel, sorry, rather the Linux kernel, and takes the GNU system and combine the two. In a similar manner, people have taken the Emacs kernel, which is yes, it's a little and lightweight text-based execution environment, and they've combined it essentially with a number of different packages, but with default configurations, and put together distros. One of these distros is Spacemacs, for example. Another one, the one that you're looking at now, is something called Doom Emacs, and that's Doom named, and the name Doom comes basically from the video game from the 90s, right? Doom. The reason why I'm using Doom is because Doom uses what is referred to as evil mode. Evil mode is Emacs Vim mode, which means that all my Vim key bindings work inside here, right? Whatever I want to do, it's all Vim key bindings, which is great because I've now got a text-based environment with Vim key bindings, and it does a bunch of other things as well. I'm quickly going to switch to the documentation for my Hugo static website, and that is this one. I've got a extension installed called OX Hugo, which allows me to export basically an org mode document. If you look at the bottom of the screen here, you'll notice that that this file has the .org extension. Now, the reason why this is interesting is why you should care is because of the fact that, as you can see, once I get onto one of these lines and I press the tab key, it expands different sections, and all of the sections basically are still plain text. Underneath all of this is plain text, but the moment that they run through the external exporter will interpret this org mode formatted plain text and interpret it in the way in which the export engine will allow, right? So if I export to HTML, it will basically end up getting interpreted through each of these will be a H1. The first level star will be H1, and then the second level stars will be H2, etc., for example, and those can be customized. If I export to LaTeX, then these LaTeX headers over here will come into play. The PDF export works via the LaTeX exporter. So if I or LaTeX, whichever way you pronounce it, right? So if I were to export to PDF, then I can drop some hints in here about the way in which I would prefer my LaTeX or the LaTeX exporter should interpret certain aspects of my document, like for example, the text width and then the header offsets, etc., so that when the PDF jumps out the other end, it's formatted in a particular manner. The sprinkled bits of Hugo Headings, these are special ways of essentially hinting at the exporting environment that it should interpret this org mode document in a particular manner. The org mode document itself is very simple. It's just plain text. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my presentation notes. So my presentation notes are themselves, like I mentioned before, it's just an org mode document. The reason why I am showing you my presentation notes is because this is typically how I prepare for presentations. The presentation itself ends up elsewhere, but my ideas, the structure of the talk that I want to give, the order in which I would like to cover different topics, working those out in my head is hard. Working them out inside a text-based editing environment where I don't have to worry about the styling, that's amazing to me. I love the fact that I can start a heading, have another heading below that one, go back up, insert one heading, decide that, oh, no, maybe I want to have this one be a subheading. I can indent it and make it a subheading, and then this subheading is now here. But at the same time, I can decide that, oh, maybe I don't want this one here. I might want to move this one up so that I have heading 2 first, and then the other one follows that one, right? And I can manage the content from the outside in. I can make sure that I look at the overview first, and if there's a whole subsection that I want to delete, I can just, there was 2 Ds, which is the Vim key binding for deleting a line, and the whole section goes away, right? This should blow your, if you've ever worked in a text document and tried to do tables, this should kind of blow your mind. The fact that I can do this, right? Inside, and remember, underneath, this is still a plain text document. It's just that the Emacs editor is interpreting this thing now as sort of providing stylistic, graphical mode layout hints for what the eventual formatting would be. But underneath, this is still just a plain text document. So I can say this is the first column. Go back. Did you see how this column expanded? Right. I can add a second. Sorry. I can add a second column and call this second. And notice how just by tabbing through, I'm adding rows, right? I can, the second row, when I start typing in it, I can make something break the formatting. But the moment that I hit escape, it automatically reformats for me. This table editing mode inside org Emacs goes way beyond what I'm just going to show you now. It is literally a spreadsheet. You can do formulas and column-wise, adding up of things. That's one thing. Literate programming was something that I discovered when I got into Emacs, or when I learned about org mode. Org mode has this thing called literate programming. Literate programming is basically where you get to type source code inside your text document, right? And it will execute that whatever the application is inside. So here you see the results of me executing the application here. I can do the same thing with eList. Who remembers that? Come on. Who remembers that list is uses prefix notation like this, right? So the results here is 3. I can do the same thing for the shell. Imagine that you want to document a bunch of steps for something that you figured out a long time ago, something that was a bit weird that you needed to do within the shell, right? Sorry, this is within a long time ago in the shell, and you needed to figure out that, oh, these are all the switches that I needed to add in. The thing needed to look like this, but I really wanted to maybe say that this is how you do that thing, and then you wanted to add maybe a shell script in here. That shell script you maybe wanted to take a little bit further. So there's a shortcut way of expanding that. Less than S that you see me do there. Less than S with a tab automatically creates the section for me, so that I don't have to keep typing this stuff, right? There are lots of shortcuts like this in the environment, but this literate programming environment is in itself a huge deal, especially if you're writing technical documentations. You can literally, there is something called REST client, which is an extension that allows you to do literate interactions with external APIs. So if you want to document how you consume an API, you can dump the results in your text document. You can take the results that you've dumped in your text document, which might be in a JSON format, write the example of how to actually parse the results using the JQ command, execute it in the document to validate that you didn't misplace a comma or something somewhere, to validate that your code works and that everything works the same. So just literate programming is already a huge deal from the point of view of writing consistent, reproducible technical documentation, right? And it goes deeper, right? Because apart from the fact that you can do the normal sort of styling and editing, the fact that you have this amazing outline mode where you can sketch out the rough outline of what you want to talk about or what you're thinking about, and then through this process of iterative deepening, go deeper into the individual parts of what you want to write about. I have installed LaTeX locally on my computer. So now when I want to type formulas into my text document, I can do so. That's what the formula looks like. But because I don't want to look at that stuff while I'm actually thinking about the stuff that I'm writing, I just display the formula in line. And because Emacs is a graphical environment, you can either write classic LaTeX like this. And the important thing to note here is that I didn't set up all the begin doc, end doc LaTeX. LaTeX is very ceremonious. If you've ever worked with LaTeX, it's extremely ceremonious. It's painful to work with. This is basically the best way ever to work with LaTeX, which is there is this one thing that I need from LaTeX, which is it's an amazing ability to represent mathematical symbols. And I just want to use that to insert into whatever the document is that I'm going to produce. I want to insert a beautiful looking formula that is in proper mathematical notation, right? You can do that. I mentioned org Babel. There is org agenda and org Rome. I'm just going to throw these things out there so maybe you guys can go and look a little deeper for yourself after the fact. Org agenda is a way for you to organize your life. And the way you do that is basically by leveraging the fact that inside this environment, you can have to-dos, and you can essentially cycle each line here can be a to-do, and this org document can essentially be parsed by the org agenda extension to generate a calendar entry or export to ICF. I've got 2 minutes left. Did I say ICF? To ICS for exporting your calendar, or do a CalDev or a WebDAV integration. And remember that this is the power of org mode that I'm trying to talk about. It's the fact that you go from this really simple idea of text mode editing in an outline fashion, a way of leveraging the power of structuring your thought as outlines, and then adding small extensions to that to essentially enhance your life. What I'm going to do now is quickly show you, for example, this document, Control-C-E, export as a LaTeX PDF as a PDF file. There should now be a PDF file in the same folder. which is the Superpower presentation, and I'm going to display that document directly inside Emacs, right? So this is the PDF document that I just generated, and look how beautifully it's formatted the word LaTeX for me. I just typed LaTeX in there, and it understands that, hang on, that word is supposed to be written in a very specific way, right? Okay, sorry, it's not going to allow me to zoom in further than that, so I hope you guys can see that. That LaTeX is beautiful, that my formulas look beautiful, that it's generated a table of contents for me, because my Emacs is set up with in the configuration, I've said this is my name, it knows who the user is, and it's put my name in there. And you can see that it's sort of indented and added sections and styling in the document for me already. And that is all basically from this simple document with a simple layout. I can do the same thing for HTML. I can export to Markdown. You guys saw the long list of export options that are in here. I can even export to ODT, to open document format, right? To, generating open office documents. This for me, the idea that I can stay inside text mode and have Vim key bindings, have the ability to version this by using Git, and go from there and export into the wider world is for me now the reason why I reach for Emacs on my day-to-day when I go into a meeting, not for Evernote anymore. All of my notes, and I can't show you my notes from my day-to-day life here because it's proprietary, and the company that I work for wouldn't like very much for you to be seeing that. But imagine the fact that I've got hundreds of notes in Evernote that I've accrued over the years, that all of that stuff now, I've essentially ditched Evernote. Emacs is always open in the background, and whenever I need to take a note, first thing I do is start a new buffer, org mode, and my meeting notes are much more structured now because my meeting notes are org mode documents. Got headings, subheadings. I can take a screenshot of something, drag and drop it into the UI, and it will land there. And it's I've got basically a built-in search engine inside Emacs as well, which will search across all of my text documents, right? Okay, never mind the titles of these things. What you're about to see. So this is the org mode presentation meetup, right? So all these documents that you see there, or that long list of results you saw there, those basically are my meeting notes from my day-to-day interactions, and I can search into the text. So I've basically got a local text-based search engine across all of them as well. I did not talk about org Rome. I did not get to, what did I not get to talk about? I did not get to talk about org Rome. Org Rome is a completely new, amazing thing by itself. I'm going to finish up now by just saying, check out org Rome. The idea with org Rome is essentially that you end up generating backlinks into, let me see if I can open the org Rome. Okay, let me open this one, go to this one. I prepared these already. You notice on the right-hand side of the screen, it says there are 3 backlinks to this document. This is a way of building a knowledge graph of your notes. Basically, what's happening is I've inserted text-based links that look like this, unformatted. Unformatted, it's basically just a reference to the file. Formatted, it looks like a regular link. If I hit enter while I'm on here, I'll go to the document. Okay, so this stuff is, sorry, what I was gonna say is the ability to have backlinks like this is basically the ability to have backlinks gives you the ability to build up a knowledge graph. Now you can go and create a top-level document or create smaller documents that branch off from that, and be able to navigate the knowledge graph simply by being able to look at the document, know what else references this document, and over time not be able to reconstruct the state that you used to have, because that's the idea. You capture the state of that's normally in your head when you're doing research into a subject, capture all the links, replicate that graph locally, and over time your knowledge graph locally, your local knowledge graph of your local knowledge base should basically grow larger. Let me go to the first workspace. So I'm 3. Sorry. So back here. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Does anybody have any questions? I think I've gone over time, and I can still keep talking. Let me see if I can stop sharing my screen. How do I stop sharing my screen?
You already stopped sharing. You stopped already.
Oh, it stopped already. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, guys. I've gone like 6 minutes over time. Does anybody have any questions?
Not really. I'll definitely look into Emacs again. Never knew.
Yeah. Look into Doom. So Doom Emacs basically comes with a bunch of Doom Emacs is pre-configured. It works on all distros. It works on, or rather, all operating systems. It works on Linux, on Mac, on Windows. So go to Doom Emacs. Right. So this is okay. I'm going to quickly share my screen again so that you guys can see. Where am I? So if you just Google for Doom Emacs, or you don't have to Google for it, you can use a better search engine like the one I've got going here, DuckDuckGo. You can just DuckDuckGo for Doom Emacs. You should find a Git repository that looks like this, right? If you also see some of the results in DuckDuckGo are from DistroTube, which is great, but the one on the right-hand side here is from it's basically something called Doomcasts. So if you search for Doomcasts on YouTube, you would get an amazing introduction to the world of Emacs Doom, right? The Doom version or the Doom distro of Emacs. And it is as gentle an introduction as you could wish for. Yeah, okay. I'm going to draw a line there.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions?
I do have rather something like a comment, right? I'm like a Doom user myself for like about 2 years now, so huge fan. Still a beginner, I think, as well. But yeah, I think for me, org mode was also the killer feature in the end, right? Just on my day-to-day work, when I want to note something down, I have like syntax highlighting. I can evaluate code and I can search for it later. Yeah, makes a huge difference. But for me, there's like an interesting trend over the last few years where you can see, especially startups coming up with new products like Notion, Hey, Superhuman, Roam, right? That look, to me, the more I know about Emacs, they look like highly efficient tools optimized for like one specific thing, like almost like taken out of Emacs or similar systems, right? Especially for the email and for like Notion, where like, oh wow, they're trying to replicate org mode pretty much, minus it's a dedicated tool, so they can only do one thing, right? And I think in Emacs it becomes really cool if you combine it with something, right? So you do your day-to-day work, then you one click or one key press and you're in org mode, right? And you have all these features available, but it's the exact same key bindings, the same views. So yeah, really cool to see that. And you want to share and you export, and there's just like endless options. And so my bet would be like that the next few startups, they just take a part of Emacs and you just have like a new email client with a, like what they call minimal interface, which is pretty close to what we already have like for the 20-year-old tools.
Yeah. And I think that's fine. I'm not. Emacs has been around for so long. I'm not really bothered by folks doing things and moving it onto the web or doing it into the cloud. What I'm really happy about is the fact that I have the option of not going down, of not having to go. I'm not being forced along there. I've got my free and open source option that fits my needs and fits my use case, right? Certainly Emacs is not for everybody. I don't think everybody will find a love and a use out of org mode, but I think that org mode for me is amazing enough that it's gotten me off of Evernote, which I've been using as a paid user for almost since they started. Okay, so for me that should at least give people it's as good an endorsement for the product as I can give, that I would actually give up a paid version, something that I'm happy to continue paying for. Right, the money is not the issue. Give that up for Emacs. So, yeah. For org mode specifically, I shouldn't say I gave it up for Emacs. I gave it up for org mode.
Yeah, same here. I think it's great to have these ideas, like we not even rediscover it, but like repackaged for normal users, because it's a heavy like power user tool, right? And the learning curve. I mean, you're months in, right? And I'm years in. I feel like I'm like 2% there of like maximizing my usage of the tool, and I still learn new key bindings, new whatever, and struggle with the tool on a day-to-day basis. But over time, it just it accumulates to something very, very powerful, very custom to what I'm doing. So yeah, huge fan.
Yeah, and maybe that is the tip to give for everybody as well, right? Figure out the one thing that you think will be useful, where this could be useful for you to use, and figure out how to do that one thing using this tool, and maybe try to configure it to that one use case the way that I did. And I essentially lived inside Emacs org mode for a month, writing that website, which is very content heavy, and that's the way that I've always learned. You immerse yourself with a very focused task, and the tool learning will come along. The moment you hit a problem, you go look up how to get it done, right? And so you learn. Yeah. All right. I wonder if my children have crawled into bed by themselves at this point. Yeah, I'm definitely drawing a line under it there now. Does anybody have any more questions?
I think we are good now. So maybe we'll let Hadi from Puppet to present next.
Okay. Sorry for stealing into your time there, Hardy.
Okay. Cool. So can you guys hear my voice?
Loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I have a hard time starting my camera. I have no idea why. So I'll just share my screen. This one, share. So are you guys able to see my screen? Is it good?
Can you all see the slides?
Can you see the slides?
No, it appeared for a while and went blank.
Okay.
Yeah, black screen.
Blank screen.
You stop it. Maybe stop and share again.
Yeah. I just present again. Okay.
How about now?
Nope.
You do stop and share again.
Okay, stop sharing. Let's just do like
Don't go
the
to
normal
the other.
one. Yeah, let's just do like this. So
Can. You must go to the other one to share.
which one?
The browser, the GC window.
No, I already shared.
Oh yeah, but you stop. You start again.
From here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go and start again because sometimes.
Okay, share again.
Loading.
I can move to here, right? I already shared. So it's stop.
Can you see?
Yeah.
Again.
I think it's because of the Wi-Fi is not so strong. Yeah.
Then how? Pass the file to Zach to share?
No. You stop first.
No, can't even stop. Just okay.
Yeah. No, you go to the you must click. Maybe you pick the application window.
Okay.
You go to start. Share.
Sorry, there's some technical
Application window.
difficulties.
I can actually see the slight introduction to Puppet both in the thumbnail of your camera.
Oh, this one you can see?
Blank screen.
Yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties.
Zach, can you see?
No worries, Adil. Take your time.
No.
Sharing. Wait, let me see. This is. So
it's already sharing.
Yeah, but apparently they can't see.
Okay. So.
Everything is those. Let me think how to do it.
Yeah, because.
How about we go upstairs?
Yeah.
Is it still drilling over there?
It's now less loud, but they drill now and then. But now it's quiet now. You can hear it's quiet now.
So yeah, why don't we go up and
okay.
Yeah, take a.
Okay, so you all can have a toilet break.
Okay lah, we try to go up.
Okay, you guys.
Okay.
Can.
Sorry for the technical issues. They are still drilling a bit. Let me check with them. Yeah, so they finished drilling, so which is good. I think we wait for Hardy to come out. I think the broadband here will be much better. Sorry for the technical interruptions today.
Darrel, you guys are muted. You guys muted for on purpose?
Kang, what software are you using to draw the thing?
This is Autodesk Sketchbook.
Wow, okay.
Why? Waiting for the presentation file to load.
Yes, it's on Google Slides. I think it's a bit big, so it's loading up soon.
I see.
Chrome tab, maybe? Just now we can do this.
No, this is glitching out. Yeah,
Oh, this one. Oops, wrong. You see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, back in business.
Yes.
Should I go full screen or you can see?
Presentation mode.
No, just
Present.
present.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
present button.
Okay.
Okay.
Can see?
Wow.
Oh,
Finally.
yeah.
Okay, finally.
Finally. Okay, you have the center stage.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Yep. So I hope everyone can see the screen.
Yep.
Yep. So good. Then I move on to the next one. So I'm Hardy. I'm the senior sales engineer for Puppet. So I've been in Puppet since last year. And in terms of like the DevOps domain, I've been around for quite a while. So since the days of Microfocus, as well as Progress. So since 2014, and this is my contact details. If you'd like to contact me after the presentation. Right. So a little bit about Puppet. So Puppet is an infrastructure automation company. Yeah, we've been around since 2012, 2015. And there are a lot of like users all around the world that are using Puppet to automate their infrastructure. So moving on, so what is Puppet? Just now I shared that Puppet is an infrastructure automation tool. So we define infrastructure as a code. So what does that look like is, for example, if you want to provision your Apache and you want to set the Apache at a certain port number, which a lot of people will set it at port 80, and you only want a certain number of group of users that have the access to that. So you can define that across your infrastructure estate as a code. So the way Puppet do that is we define it in a declarative manner. So how you do that is you declare your desired end state. So you have like, for example, Apache set the the port number equals to 80. And then the state equals to running, and then you define like the number of the type of users that you have that can access this particular application. So there are a couple of use cases that Puppet can do for your infrastructure automation. So we can do like, for example, server provisioning across like different operating systems. So these are just some of the operating systems that we support. Primarily, we work well with Windows Server, AIX, Solaris, as well as Red Hat Linux. So we do help you to do configurations management. So things like setting up, for example, your GPO settings and all that, like making sure that the firewalls in Red Hat is properly configured across your estate. And then the other use case that we do for the operating systems is around security and compliance. So we help organizations across primarily in the highly regulated industries, such as financials, banks, insurance companies, governments. We help them to make sure that their state are compliant according to like certain security benchmark that they follow. For example, CIS, which is Center of Internet Security, STIG as well. So and also if they have like a custom benchmark hardening standards, we can help them to accomplish that. So once they're happy with the hardening of the operating systems, then we move on to harden their database as well as middleware. So the other use case that we do, we help customers with is in terms of the network device provisioning, as well as the configurations management. So we help them to, for example, in terms of routers, switches, and firewall. So firewall, we can help them to set up new firewall rules, change it, and delete it. So according to their requirement. So the other things that we help them, we help our customers to do is in terms of the hypervisor layer. So we work well with, for example, VMware. We have plugins with VRA, OpenStack, as well as Microsoft Hyper-V, doing software orchestration and provisioning in the hypervisor layer. We can also help you to manage, your cloud infrastructure. So the same Puppet code that runs on your on-premise, you can technically move the workload across to the cloud without the need of any change of the code whatsoever. All right, so with Puppet, technically speaking, you just need to learn one language, which is the Puppet language, and it serves as a single source of truth and can streamline the operational unity of your operations team. So yeah, moving on. So this is an example of declarative and imperative. So initially, Puppet, we do what we call declarative. So as you can see here, user just ensure that's present and it belongs to a particular group ID. So what this does is basically you tell Puppet what you want. So for this, so it goes to say that it'll go to your system, create a particular user called Elmo, and making sure that it's there present, and then it belongs to this particular group called sysadmin. So the same set of code you can see under the imperative. So this is how you do it. So it's more like procedural kind of approach. So back to where we were just now. So Puppet, we support both declarative and imperative. And I will explain to you in the next few slides how we do that. So, okay, the first, yeah, any questions? No? All right, so a couple of things here. So how does Puppet communicate with the nodes? So you have like on the left-hand side, you have Puppet master, right? And you have like a firewall in between, and then you have agents at the right-hand side. So agents will then communicate with the master and will initiate the connection. So it will open up connection to the master, and then they will talk to one another. So this is what we call a pull architecture. So this is typically done with an agent in the Puppet terminologies, and we do it via a language called declarative language, which is a Puppet-based language. So the other approach, which is taken by like some of our friendly competitors like Ansible, they are doing what we call agentless. So so the master will then push like a procedural or imperative languages or instructions over to the agents, and then the agents will then run the instructions, and they do it via SSH and WinRM connections. So for Linux boxes, you have to open up SSH connections. For Windows boxes, you have to open up WinRM connections. So so this will allow you to have like what we call as the agentless approach of how you can manage your infrastructure. right? So there are some plus and minuses around both approaches. I'll talk about it in the next few slides. So this is the other way of like more combined effort, combined methodologies where you do the push architecture, but you're communicating it via the agent communication protocol. We will not cover this much because it's more relevant for Puppet Enterprise. All right, so how does Puppet handle when there's a network outage, right? So when there's a network outage and the master and the agents can't communicate because for some reason that the network is just is lousy or some downtime happening, so the agents will still keep on running, right? It will still enforce your configurations that you have already defined in the first place based on the last instructions coming from the masters itself. So technically speaking, in theory, you will have your agents enforcing these configurations as well as the compliance state all the time as long as they keep on running. So you will not have issues whereby your one of your nodes or going out of compliance. Okay, so just now I was talking about agent versus agentless. So Puppet, we do both. So we do agent-based as well as agentless. And so there are some pluses and minuses between agent-based and agentless. So for agent, it's useful because you have the visibility of before and after state because you have an agent running all the time, right? So you have like the catalog informations containing all the information about that particular nodes. So every particular nodes that where the agent sits on. And whenever there's a change, then you can like track, and then we will, at the end of the day, you will have like a change reporting. And we also support redundancies in terms of agent-based because when it cannot connect to the master, then the agents will still be running based on the last instructions, right? So, so the other thing is the agentless. So this is what we are gonna discuss today, which is Bolt. So Puppet Bolt is an open source agentless approach. It's a new offering from Puppet. So you don't need to install any kind of agents whatsoever. Yeah, you just need to open up the SSH and WinRM ports so that we can connect with that. And it is able to do like a couple of use cases. For example, you can do like server restart, service restart, backing up log files, things like that. Things that's easy to get you started. It allows you to do like quick and simple automation. So moving on, so like so because Puppet we support both now, agent-based as well as the agentless. So we cover a wider range of use cases. So typically, what we find across our customer base is that the agentless is typically used for doing ad hoc stuff. For example, what I just mentioned just now, doing the backup, like setting up, for example, deploying a particular application binaries, doing patching, OS patching, stuff like that, typically done or more natural to the agentless. Whereas for agent-based, we do it more in terms of doing the complications management because you have agents that's running all the time. So with Puppet, the default interval for the agents to check back with the master is 30 minutes. You can configure that. So every 30 minutes, Puppet will then, the agents will communicate back to the master to report like what are the changes that's happening. And if need be, then Puppet will then enforce, the desired state back to the original state that you have defined initially. So continuous compliance use case also more useful for agent-based, right? So typically what we find is that in terms of agent-based, it scales better, much more than the agentless, because in terms of agentless, you have to keep the SSH connection up and running all the time until the instructions finish running completely. Whereas agent-based, you don't need to do that because the master, once the master sends out the catalog instructions, you close the connections, and then the agents will then just run the instructions accordingly. So it's less network overhead at the agent base, and you can do a lot of things. For example, like ensuring that your policies or your infra is always hardened all the time, reduce a lot of risk. Yeah, so that's the full coverage automation with Puppet. So now it comes to Bolt. So Bolt is our agentless offering from Puppet. It's open source. So yeah, so a couple of things about Bolt. You know, it just gives you like quick and easy way to execute agentless automation against any remote host, right? So you don't need to install anything. You know, you don't need to install any sort of agents. No need to install Python. No Ruby. Nothing at all, right? So at the server, at your end, you just need to install Bolt, and then you will be able to connect to remote host as long as you open up the SSH and WinRM protocol. So yeah, authenticate via SSH or WinRM, or PCP if you already have an agent or Puppet agent running inside. So it is able to execute arbitrary commands, scripts, Bolt tasks, and plans. So I'll explain a bit what the difference are. And you can use basically any scripts in any language that the remote host can execute. So with Bolt, you can execute, for example, if you have a Java compiler at the remote host, you can execute that as well. If you have Python, if you have like Ruby, if you have, for example, like Go, Lang, so any kind of like language, Bolt is able to work with that. And you can like mature it your own place. So we can go from like your scripts and then move on to like what we call Puppet tasks, where you actually define the scripts together with the input descriptions, and then plans. Puppet plans is basically a sequence of tasks. And then you can move on to the Puppet code, which is the declarative command. So this is like more like a mixed play here. Or if you have like Puppet Enterprise, which is the enterprise offering of the Puppet, you can leverage Bolt from Puppet Enterprise. So okay, because I'm not using my computer, so I can't do demo today because yeah. So I'll just explain what Bolt does, right? So with Bolt, you can basically execute any kind of command. So in here, for example, you just type Bolt command run ping any particular server. You can like run backup commands, run host names. In Linux nodes, you can do ls. Basically, any kind of commands that's natively available at that particular remote host, you can run it, right? So so once you are comfortable with doing Bolt command run, you know, you can move on what we call scripts. So scripts are like, for example, your .sh or .ps1 for Windows, or you know, you can do like .class for Java, Golang. You have another extension there. So basically, what it does is Bolt script run will then take that particular script, transport it over the SSH connection or WinRM connection to the remote host, and then run it at the remote end. So this is a script. So that's what we have for Puppet task. So Puppet task is basically a combination between your script and the JSON. So the JSON will basically contain a number of things. It allows you to define what this particular script is all about. For example, a backup script, then you can write the description that this script is actually doing backup for a particular application and what's the purpose. And it also allows you to, you know, define what kind of like parameters that you can put in. That's valid parameters that you should like put in when you actually run the script or the task. And it allows input validation, so it defines the parameters, whether it's a string, it's a number, things like that. So this is called Puppet task. So once you're you know, comfortable with doing Puppet tasks, then the next step is you can move on to create what we call Puppet plans. So Puppet plans is a sequence of Puppet tasks. So this is useful when it comes to do, like, for example, OS patching. So before patching, you want to do, for example, like backing up the VMs first, or stopping certain services before you actually run the patching. And then after patching, maybe you want to like, you know, if the patching fails, then you want to restore the backup, the VM snapshot. or you might want to, like, if it's successful, then you want to run or rather start the services, some services back to running, right? So and then lastly, you can like mix and match that together with Puppet declarative language, where you can actually use the bold command and then communicate that with the Puppet declarative language scripts. So I guess that's about it for bold. Are there any questions?
The PCP is Puppet Command Protocol. So
PCP stands for Puppet Communication Protocol.
Communication Protocol.
Yeah,
So,
it's at port 8140. So if you have like an agent running, so it always communicates back to the master through that particular port.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that the whole communication channel is also encrypted as in SSL, TSL.
Yeah, it's always encrypted.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the audience itself? So this one is open source, right? So what you need to run both itself from scratch?
So
what's the stuff that you need to run?
What's the stuff? There's actually if you look at the just Puppet bold. Yeah. So if you go to you just search Google Puppet bold. Yeah. So you will have. I think they should have the requirements. I think it's somewhere here. So you go under installing bold.
Oh, so you actually run in a container. So.
Yeah, it can run under a container, but I think the last time I checked, where I just run it on Mac OS, so you can use like the homebrew.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if you run it under, let me check. Yeah, you should. Yeah, it also allows you to run it from the container.
Okay. Okay. Good. Any questions?
Yeah, so why we came up with Bold is because Ansible is agentless, right? So Puppet now, because typically we started off from agent-based approach. So now instead of like just providing agent-based, so now we have also the agentless approach. Yeah.
Okay. Any question from you, Max?
I'm a bit thinking, maybe a bit too detailed, but do you have is there like a plug-in system? Can I reuse other Bold scripts, or does Bold give you like a set of set commands, like starting and stopping services, for example? And I have to build my own stuff most of the time.
You don't need to build your stuff most of the time. So we have in Puppet we have a code repository where a lot of our community members and partners, contributes, as you can see here. So you see, for example, this task stands for Bold. Yeah, you can just download this. I think Docker here. As you can see, it's basically task-based. So this is Bold as well. Yeah. So not everything you have to build from scratch. A lot of the things you can just download from forge.puppet.com. Yeah.
Cool.
So we have about 6,000 modules, ranging from VRA. I don't know whether you're familiar with VMware VRA, real estimation, vSphere, Docker, Jenkins, and all that. So we have a full range of integrations that's already available that you can leverage on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So one of the question that Ong is asking is there any way to automate and audit Puppet scripts? Automate and audit Puppet scripts.
What do you mean with automate the Puppet scripts?
I mean, in the sense that he's referring more for the auditing itself. So it's like to audit the script itself in terms of changes or.
So we use so Puppet. We have what we call code manager, which is basically we can connect within Puppet and Git. So we work well with GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, and all those code repository. So any version changes you can see at the Git repo. Yeah. So you want to audit, then you can like look at like who's changing the code, and then you be able to see like who's doing what at what time, what changes looks like. Yeah.
Okay. So any other question? Darrel, you want any questions?
No.
Okay.
Cool.
So thanks Hadi for joining in. Sorry for the technical hiccups. It's one of the very rare times that we actually have.
Yeah, it was like a drilling upstairs or next door, and and we had to go down.
Yeah.
Are we still talking, or the?
Yeah. So
Parting shots.
any parting shots? Anyone?
Right.
Anything? Okay, so if nothing, you want to call it a day? Yeah. I think it's getting a bit late.
Yeah.
Yep. So thanks everyone for joining. Let's if any one of you want to volunteer to speak in terms of your pet open source projects and you want to showcase, then it would be good, because I think the last time we have a user who showcased the Raspberry Pi thing, right? So that is pretty cool. So any way that you use open source in any strange way that no one seems to use before, you can actually showcase and show your skills and share with everyone so that we can learn. Yeah, I think yep, thanks for everyone for joining. Hope to catch you again next month. If there's anything, you can actually chat with us in the whether it's in a Telegram group or in the Meetup chat group itself. We'll definitely keep in touch and update accordingly. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Yep. So I hang up, Okay. You stop the YouTube what? Then I hang it.
If you off my you quit the room.
Okay.
After the whole sleep, you
Okay, I close.
you end the session.
Okay.